dad or whoever's here. Is it for fun or is it for work? Ashley, you wanna hang outside with like
Religious Education. And we have two guest presenters, Nikki Schimmel and Mary Beth Grinnan. And then we have our children's choir, led by Jamie Kilpatrick, who will be helping to enliven our spirits today as well. So, do we have people here who would like to, who here for the first or second time? We'd love to know who you are, and if you'd like to introduce yourself, and raise your hand, and Jamie will bring you the mic. We are streaming, so you know. Is the mic on?
And we just happened to be looking for a good UU church.
Yeah.
That's up for all.
Welcome.
Good morning. Good morning.
Hi. Marcelo, I just don't usually come here.
That's okay. It's good to meet you, Marcella.
I'm Christine, and I'm happy to be here with my niece who just graduated, just finished freshman year at VCU. So we're visiting to pick her up and visiting my sister-in-law, Regina. I'm Jean's sister, and it's so nice to see you all and be here today. So thank you.
Welcome.
Hi, my name is Tim. I'm from Durham, North Carolina, and I'm here visiting Corbin today. Really excited.
Great.
Good morning. Good morning.
Phoebe.
This is Phoebe. She's usually downstairs, but we're all newer.
Welcome.
Okay. Is that it? Great. Welcome everyone. So we're just going to give you a minute. Just say hello to your neighbor for a few minutes. What a wonderful world. Thank you. So today we're going to do a little differently today. You know, we are, as people and as Unitarian Universalists, we tend to be a lot in our brains, in our minds. We're very intellectual. We love to read. We love to analyze, that kind of thing. But you know, we have these whole bodies and our minds and our spirits, and we want to be whole people. So today, we're going to ask you to be in your wholeness and to actually use your body, mind, and spirit to move. And that's why we have Nikki and Mary Beth are going to help us, because they're experts in this. Yeah. So our theme this month is creativity. And when I heard that theme, I just thought, you know, my creative spirit comes not just from my brain, it comes from all of me. And that movement that I hope we can get in touch with today really helps to enliven my creativity. So I want to tell you a little bit about our guest presenters. Nikki Schimmel is a passionate facilitator of growth and joy. She began teaching yoga in 2001 after she fell in love with yoga philosophy that opened her heart and alignment principles and strengthened her body. Being a former jazz dancer, she was drawn to the freedom and the artistic expression of the Nia practice and began teaching Nia, and we're going to tell you more about Nia later, in 2010. She experiences the depth of yoga and the playfulness of Nia as the perfect marriage of practices to nourish your body, your mind, and your spirit. In addition to teaching weekly public classes at Soulshine Studios, Nikki has been teaching yoga and Nia retreats locally and internationally since 2012. She lives in Midlothian, Virginia with her husband, 2 teenage kids, and her cat, Cheddar. And Mary Beth is a co-founder and sole owner of Soulshine Studios, a Nia and yoga studio. She discovered the joy of movement at her first Nia class in 1999 and has been teaching Nia for 23 years in the US, Europe, and Central America. Mary Beth is a first-degree black belt, Nia black belt, and a member of the Nia training faculty. She loves to see people light up as they open to the possibilities of play and joy. In her free time, Mary Beth seeks out opportunities to be creative in her garden or her makeshift artist studio, and of course, on the dance floor. So, today, I'm going to ask you to have a beginner's mind. Have you heard this term, beginner's mind? It's a Buddhist term that says we just wipe away any preconceived ideas we have about judgment in particular, and judging that maybe we don't think we can dance or move. We wipe all that away, and we say, oh, I'm going to start this with an open, carefree, and joyful mind. So that's where I hope we're going to be today.
And we light our chalice to the words of Rick Rubin. No matter what tools you use to create, the true instrument is you. And through you, the universe that surrounds us all comes into focus.
Our opening hymn is This Little Light of Mine. Please stand. And we're going to invite you to learn some movements and to find your own expression of moving as you sing this song. And they're going to help us.
I'm gonna let it shine.
that was fun. Woo. I have a story to share with you today. Who likes a story? Love a story. This story is called Giraffes Can't Dance. It's not my title. Let's see what happens. I'm going to invite those who are young, those who are all ages, whoever wants to. If you would like to come in front of the chancel here, we are going to listen to this story with our bodies. What does that mean? There are a lot of words about movement in the story, so you might feel inspired to throw your arms out to the side or spin around in a circle, sway your neck. There is a part about doing a backward somersault. I'm going to ask that we do not attempt, no matter your age, that you do not attempt a backward somersault here. If you would rather just be in the aisles, that's okay too. If you'd rather just sit and listen, that's okay too. Our bodies can and want to do all kinds of different things. So the entire spectrum of movement or stillness is totally fine. There we go. Thank you, Sam, for getting that started. All right. Gerald was a tall giraffe whose neck was long and slim, but his knees were awfully crooked and his legs were rather thin. He was very good at standing still and munching shoots off trees, but when he tried to run around, he buckled at the knees. Now, every year where he lived in Africa, they hold a jungle dance where every single animal turns up to skip and prance. Do any of you know how to skip? Any skippers? Do you want to try it? Yes. Yes. Whew. And this year, when the day arrived, poor Gerald felt so sad because when it came to dancing, he was really very bad. The warthogs started waltzing, and the rhinos rock and rolled. What might rock and roll look like? Yeah, I see it. Yes, I see air guitar. Yes, please. The lions danced a tango that was elegant and bold. The chimps all did a cha-cha with a very Latin feel, and 8 baboons then teamed up for a splendid Scottish reel. If any of you start doing a Scottish reel, I will be very impressed. I don't know that one. Gerald swallowed bravely as he walked toward the floor, but the lions, they saw him coming, and they soon began to roar, "Hey, look at clumsy Gerald." The animals all sneered. "Giraffes can't dance, you silly fool." Ugh, Gerald, you're so weird. Now in my house, weird is like a good thing, right? Not everybody means it that way, but that's how we know it in my house. Gerald simply froze up. He was rooted to the spot. They're right, he thought. I'm useless. Ugh, I feel like such a clot. So he crept off from the dance floor and he started walking home. He'd never felt so sad before. So sad and so alone. And then he found a little clearing and he looked up at the sky. "The moon can be so beautiful," he whispered with a sigh. "Excuse me," coughed a cricket who'd seen Gerald earlier on. "But sometimes, when you're different, you just need a different song. Listen to the swaying grass and listen to the trees. To me, the sweetest music or those branches in the breeze. So imagine that the lovely moon is playing just for you. Everything makes music if you really want it to. With that, the cricket smiled and picked up his violin. Then Gerald felt his body do the most amazing thing. His hooves had started shuffling, making circles on the ground. His neck was gently swaying and his tail was swishing around. He threw his legs out sideways and he swung them everywhere. Then he did a backward somersault and leapt up in the air. Can you see it in your mind? Can you picture a giraffe doing a backward somersault? Fair. Gerald felt so wonderful. His mouth was open wide. I'm dancing. Yes, I am dancing. I am dancing, Gerald cried. Then one by one, each animal who'd been there at the dance arrived while Gerald boogied on and watched him quite entranced. They shouted, "It's a miracle. We must be in a dream. Gerald's the best dancer that we've ever seen." "How did you learn to dance like that? Please, Gerald, tell us how." But Gerald simply twirled around and finished with a bow. Then he raised his head and looked up at the moon and stars above. "We all can dance," he said, "when we find music that we love." You are excellent listeners, all of you. Thank you so much. You can head back to your seats if you'd like.
I'm Dee DeRoche, and I'm here to introduce the Share the Plate Committee's choice of recipient for May's donations, Southside Relief. This local Richmond volunteer organization works to improve health outcomes and the quality of life in Southside Richmond by building green spaces and advocating for people-centered policy. Extreme heat is the greatest cause of weather-related deaths in the United States. This will worsen with climate change. By using heat mapping, we know that temperatures in some places in Richmond are 10 to 15 degrees higher than the surrounding areas. These urban heat islands are the result of high percentage of impermeable surfaces that absorb and radiate heat. The prevalence of these urban heat islands in Southside Richmond exacerbates existing health disparities. These are caused by limited financial resources, services, infrastructure, and lack of green space. So the lack of these parks and gardens and tree canopy has reduced the quality of life and the expectancy, too, of the residents there. Planting and maintaining trees will not only cool neighborhoods, it will improve health outcomes for the residents. Please donate generously to Southside Relief towards their vision of a healthy, equitable, and sustainable environment for all the residents of our city.
On your screen, you will see ways to give. Our ushers are going to bring in baskets if you want to give something here in the sanctuary, and at home, you will see a ways to give given on your screen. Please give generously. Today, this week, we heard once again about some gun violence that happened in two of our cities, in Allen, Texas, and Atlanta, Georgia. Please pray with me. Source of all, we hold in our hearts those communities who once again are experiencing gun violence and tragedies that have taken members of families and friends. With the kind of love that we know in this community, may we send that love to those communities that are now hurting and grieving. And with our love and with our compassion, may we strengthen our resolve to find ways to hold our country accountable for this, to find ways that we can have people understand what this means to a family, to all the families and communities that are experiencing this sadness. With love and with hope that our country can change, we send our deepest prayers. Amen.
I'm going to welcome you all to a guided meditation, and I invite you to remain seated and close your eyes if you're comfortable with your eyes being closed. If you prefer to keep your eyes open, that's absolutely fine. And begin by finding the most comfortable position you can. Sitting comfortably, perhaps with your palms up, your hands and arms resting. Inhale long and slowly, and exhale and sense the breath of your now body releasing. Sense the edges of thinking softening and merging with the space of beginner's mind. Release your lower jaw. Sense your neck and your shoulders softening. And allow your mind to relax, leaving you ready for what is to come. Say to yourself, I am stepping into beginner's mind, into my now body. I am empty and ready. Become aware, sensing your heart beating, sensing your body in a state of living meditation. In your mind's eye, see and sense all knowledge from the past melting away. Melt away doubt, expectations, and fear to create space for new experiences and new wisdom. Inhale deeply and sense the spaces inside you filling with gratitude and appreciation for the path you have walked. And as you exhale, sense that what remains inside is a space of lightness and curiosity. Space to experience the fullness and richness of living and learning. Sense this space inside you growing and expanding, preparing you and getting you ready to receive new information, new wisdom to help you step
into your potential. As you sense the spaces inside you growing and expanding, sense a deeper connection to yourself, to the people around you, and the world. Say to yourself, I am prepared and in beginner's mind. I will guide my movement by choosing pleasure. I will stay connected to the sensation of now, empty, connected to the curious beginner. My mind is empty. I am clear. My heart is open. My spirit is alive. I am ready. And in beginner's mind, I invite you to proceed in a way you may have never done before. Feel free to stand. Feel free to sit. Feel free to let the music move you from the inside out. No need to think about it. Our hymn will be, May Your Life Be as a Song. And if you choose to stand, go ahead and open your eyes. And then once you're standing, you can feel free to close your eyes again if you wish. Or, yes, awesome. And we will sing the hymn, and we will move the hymn with our bodies. Maybe. Your choice. Full body, hands. Oh, yeah. Do the guys. shine. You gotta be bad, you gotta be bold. All I know, love saved the day. My, oh.
Nope. Can't now? Can you hear me now? Okay, so I just thought it would be great to pick the brains of these wonderful creative people. And so I want to tell you a little bit about why this became important to me, about why creative spiritual movement became important to me. Because haven't been in my life a very embodied person. I've been a person very much in my brain. Many years ago, I started doing yoga, and then I was introduced to Nikki at one point and started doing Nia, and I just loved the expression, the joyful expression of dance in Nia. And then I started doing Qigong a few years ago. So I have learned how important it is to embody my spirit and to be whole with all of that. So that's why I wanted you to be introduced to some of these wonderful concepts. So we're going to just ask them some questions, and then if we have time, we'll ask you if you have any questions. So I want to start by finding my questions. Good idea. Mary Beth, how did you find your calling in sacred movement?
Well, I would say pretty similar to you. I was, and still am, very much in my head. And in the late 90s, after I had my second child, I was looking for exercise. I knew exercise would make me feel better. And I joined a gym, and I was doing the classes, and my body was feeling better, and I felt stronger, and I felt like I was in better shape, but it was kind of flat. And then I saw a sign one day for a class, and everyone was like this. Kind of like when we were just there, the kids were singing and we were dancing. I was looking at all of you guys. Everybody's smiling. Like, everybody out there was smiling, whether you were dancing or doing the moves or singing. Everyone was smiling. And so that's what this picture looked like. And I was like, well, I want that. And I went to that class, and it was the first time I ever really liked exercise. And about 6 months later, my teacher told us all she was moving away, and she was the only teacher in the whole area. And she said, well, you should go do the training and become a teacher. And I really thought she was kidding, because I didn't see myself at that. I had just finished getting my master's degree in information science. So like, this was not my path at all. But I knew I loved it. And I continued to complain to her about her moving away, and eventually the message got through to me that, yeah, maybe I should go do that training. And so that was the beginning for me. And then through doing the training and then teaching, what I really found out is I do love moving and I love dancing, but what I really love is sharing the dance with people, and I love dancing together. So it became very clear. Became very clear through my body. Yeah.
Can you give us a definition of Nia?
I'll do my best. It is a mind-body practice similar to yoga in that there's a class. There's a 60-minute class that can be all you ever need to know about Nia, if you so choose. Or there's more that you can learn. And it's the movement class is a combination of martial arts, dance, and mindfulness techniques and healing arts like yoga. So every class has really bits of the energy or inspiration from one of those things. It's not a circuit class where now we're doing Taekwondo, now we're gonna do 10 minutes of yoga. It's really all blended together to make sure that every class has the opportunity to address the whole person.
So Nikki, I have a question for you.
Yes.
What inspires you about this connection between mind, body, and spirit and makes you want to do this creative spiritual movement?
I think that what is unique about, Nia and yoga or kind of mindful movement practices is that they're the only spaces sometimes in our whole lives that invite our whole selves, mind, body, and spirit. Well, we have a saying at our studio where it's like, well, is it physical? Are we gonna move? Is it casual? Meaning like, can you be yourself? Can you come in and be like, hey, what's going on? And, joke around and be real. And is it sacred? Is it meaningful? Are you going to pay attention to what you're doing, right? Like it's not just physical and casual. Like we would go to the gym and you could like be on a treadmill and you could be like talking about, what you're doing next week and something else. And, and so you're getting physical and casual experience, but you're not getting also a sacred experience. And so having all three of those factors together creates a sum that is greater than its parts. Right? And so then in each of us individually, that invitation that when you come into a spiritual movement practice like Nia or yoga, you don't have to leave any part of you out. You don't have to come in and just be serious and sacred only, and you don't have to leave your emotions, how you're really feeling that day or what's really going on with you. You don't have to say, oh, well, right now I need to focus on my physical movement and I need to ignore that, right? And we also are sometimes doing, trickier steps. Like we do get to bring our minds. Mare's favorite thing is a tricky step, right? My favorite thing is probably a more emotional step or, and so all parts of us get to be brought in. We get to be our completely authentic, unique selves with other people who are being completely their authentic, unique selves. And so you get to have that experience of being an individual and wholly belonging and whole self and with the whole community. And so that's what inspires me. Thank you, sir.
So, Mary Beth, how do you express your emotions through this practice?
So Nikki started touching on this. We do a lot of emotional play in NIA where sometimes we invite you to express something you might not be feeling at all, or might not be feeling consciously, like when we were dancing with the kids to You Gotta Be, we were like, you gotta be strong, kind of bringing out some of that. And even if someone might not be feeling that in the moment, we invite it in the movement to bring a new sensation, to move the body a different way. And then sometimes we invite people to express themselves how they really are feeling. So we'll just have a very simple move. I mean, it could be walking around the room, but to let people have the opportunity to let things out. So we love making sounds. We make celebratory sounds like yes, and sometimes we yell no, and we make grunts, and we make animal noises. So we do a lot of things that let people play vocally, expressively with their bodies to get emotions out, play with them.
And we keep talking about this as a spiritual movement or a sacred movement. So what's the difference between doing just exercise and something spiritual?
I think one of the main factors that contribute to that is paying attention, is awareness. So a lot of physical movements, if we think about what we're doing in our day, and even exercising, you may be ignoring your sensations, right? You may be like over your computer or driving or doing dishes, and something hurts, something doesn't feel good, and we are ignoring it in order to do the movement. And so in Nia and yoga and any other spiritual practice, what makes it kind of more sacred is that bringing the awareness to sensation and honoring ourselves, honoring our bodies. And so that is one of the main factors, I think, that can differentiate, right? As well as what I was talking about earlier of bringing your whole self to it and getting to, for me, I experience a sensation of life force energy, of a tingling or a vibrating, that if I'm not paying attention to my body, then I wouldn't necessarily feel it, right? Like after another type of workout, I might be tired, but if I had been thinking about other things and not paying attention to my body and aware of my sensations, then I wouldn't be aware of, kind of a rush that, I can call life force energy. I'm sure there's lots of other terminology for it. Mindfulness, right? But a feeling of an inherent joy of being alive and being in a body and being present in the moment with my body. Yeah.
I love that, because that's how I experience this very spiritual way of moving your body. It becomes something much more than exercise for me, anyway. So there are lots of times when I don't feel like going to do Nia or yoga or anything else. What do you do when you just kind of have no energy?
I have a story I love to tell about that, which is one of our students who comes to my evening classes, and she's a woman physician in her 80s, and she comes after work. And she came one day and she said, I'm really tired today, so I'm not going to move. I'm just going to sit in the chair, but I wanted to be here because I really like the energy. I like the energy of the group, and I want to be here. And I said, fine, absolutely, you can sit down. And, if you change your mind, feel free to get up and move around. And it was, again, kind of like that song. We didn't ask you all to stand up. Well, people just started standing up, and that's what happened to her. She was sitting there, and we start the warm-up. We're moving gently, and then she's going like this. And then the second song came, and she's standing up and dancing. And afterwards, I said to her, that was fantastic. How do you feel? And she said, I feel better. She said, I thought I was tired. And I said, yeah, it's this thing I think that happens when we have the opportunity to use our whole selves, mind, body, emotion, spirit. It's very possible that your mind was tired from working all day. Maybe your emotions were tired from things you had to deal with. But your body didn't actually get a chance to play today. Your body was like walking 10 feet this way and 10 feet that way. And when your body had the opportunity to move that life force energy, it brought the whole thing back into equilibrium. So I do my best to remember that. And when I'm tired, I like to check in and think, all right, now, what's tired? Is it my mind? Like, do I need to just go on a walk and look at things? Or is it my body? Do I need to lay down and put my feet up and I can think about something? But it's not, I think before I had this real experience with her, I used to be like, well, I'm tired, better sit down. You know, and now it's not always my body that's tired. So, and sometimes it is. That's okay.
I have two tricks. One is be a teacher, then you have to show up.
Yeah.
Right? It works for us. But the other one is that when I'm going to take class, if I have that sensation at first of like, oh, I could just lay here and watch Netflix and not go, I think about how I will feel towards the end of class. I project myself into that sensation of feeling so full of life force energy and kind of blissed out from practicing. Yeah. And there was one more thing, Amy, I wanted to say about the last question that I had forgotten, which is one of the real key things I think makes a difference between a spiritual movement and a secular movement is whether it's performative or experiential. And so in Nia and Yoga and at Soulshine, it is never about how you perform, how you look, what stage of a pose you do, or what level of a move you do. It is always about how it feels from the inside out. And so, I think that's something very different than, like here you come and you're watching us do it, but when we're in the studio, we're all doing it, and it's about your experience. It's never about how you perform.
I have one more question. I'm not sure we can have time to ask more, but I have one more for you, and that is, some people cannot really move their bodies very much. So for someone who's disabled and can't move their bodies, how do they use this kind of idea?
Do you want to start that one? Okay. Well, one of our sayings is that Nia, and our yoga, is for everybody, and we really mean any body can do that. It doesn't mean everybody is going to like everything we do, but everything is adaptable one way or another. So we do have people who dance in chairs in the same class as people who are dancing all over the place. And you can dance with your hands, you can dance with your shoulders. So there is always a way to settle and to connect with the music and with the community and move in your own way. There's so many options, and we do our best, to give people guidance at the beginning, and then what's really ideal is if you can realize what you need in the moment yourself and not have us say, oh, well, you can do it like this. You're in the chair, you do it like this. But get people the opportunity to realize all the things they can do, not the things they can't do. So it's more of a focus on what you can do. Yeah.
Well, can we thank these wonderful women for what they've shared with us today?
We extinguish our chalice with these words today. May the call of creativity arise again from within. May your own creative unfolding leave you in awe. May the beauty that has blessed you lead you to create beauty for those you love and those you do not know.
Will you please stand as we say our benediction? These words from Susan Van Dresser. Let us sing the magic of imagination. Let us sing the magic of creation by which we build the world of our soul and teach its wisdom to others. Go now with singing and with dance and with joy. We're going to sing our final hymn, We Rise, which is a song by Batyer Levine, and she has given us permission to use this song in our worship. And so we're going to ask once again Nikki and Mary Beth to lead us in some movement as we sing.
won't be divided. Rise with spirit to guide us. Rise in hope, in prayer, we find ourselves here. In hope, in prayer, we're right here. In hope, in prayer, we find ourselves here. In hope, in prayer, we're right here. And we rise, all of the children rise, elders with wisdom rise.